Dobro. History. Archive.
All right, let's get right into it. We're talking about the single biggest property theft in history, a mystery that's been ice cold for over 30 years now. This is the incredible story of how 13 priceless works of art just vanished into thin air. And the value? It's just staggering. We're talking $500 million. But it's not even just about the money. These are masterpieces that have never been seen since. Not one single piece has ever turned up. They are, for all we know, just gone. And this might be the most haunting part of the whole story. If you ever go to the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston, you know what you'll see? Not replicas, no. You'll see the original, beautiful, gilded frames just hanging there, empty. It's like this permanent, silent testament to this incredible loss.
So how in the world did this happen? Well, let's rewind. The date is March 18th, 1990. The scene is Boston, and the whole city is a giant party for St. Patrick's Day. But inside the quiet museum, two young guards are on duty, watching over a collection worth billions. Okay, so get this. It's 1:24 in the morning. The buzzer at the employee entrance goes off. The guard, a 23-year-old named Rick Abath, sees two guys dressed as Boston cops on the camera. They say they're responding to a disturbance. Now, you got to remember, it's St. Patty's Day weekend. A disturbance call? Totally believable. So what does he do? He breaks protocol and buzzes them right in. And with that one single decision, the whole thing kicks off. In just minutes, both guards are cuffed, and by 2:45 a.m., the thieves are gone.
But here's where it gets really weird. The thieves were just so calm. This was no smash and grab job. Nope, they took their sweet time. A full 81 minutes. At one point, one of the guards actually complains his handcuffs are too tight. So what does one of the thieves do? He apologizes and loosens them. I mean, who does that? They were methodical, professional, and just bizarrely polite.
So, the next morning, the new shift of guards shows up and chaos. The museum's been hit. But when the police and the FBI started to really look at what was taken, the whole crime went from a straightforward robbery to a really, really baffling mystery.
And this right here is the heart of the whole puzzle. On one hand, they grab these unbelievable treasures. I mean, Rembrandt's only seascape, a true masterpiece. And Vermeer's The Concert, which is, no joke, the single most valuable stolen painting on the entire planet. But then, they also take this ancient Chinese beaker and a tiny bronze eagle that they literally had to unscrew from the top of an old Napoleonic flag. What?
And this is the question that has driven investigators crazy for decades. Think about it. They had 81 minutes. They even made 2 trips out to their car. Yet they walked right past the most valuable painting in the entire museum, a masterpiece by Titian. Why? It just doesn't add up. It really suggests this wasn't random at all. They weren't just grabbing pricey stuff. It felt like they were following some kind of very specific and very strange shopping list.
Okay, so if the goal wasn't just cash, what was it? Well, the sheer weirdness of what they took started to lead the FBI away from your typical art thieves and pointed them straight at the Boston Mafia. Now, at first, everyone looked at the guard, Rick Abath. I mean, he broke the rules. There was even some suspicious video of him letting someone into the museum the night before, kind of like a dry run. But the FBI eventually deciding he wasn't their guy. In fact, their official conclusion was that he was, and I'm quoting here, too incompetent and foolish to have pulled this off. Ouch. So yeah, he was just a kid who got played. The FBI was convinced the real brains behind this were a lot smarter.
And pretty soon, the FBI landed on a theory that actually made sense. Their prime suspect? A mobster named Bobby Donati. And the motive? Well, this is kind of brilliant. The art was never actually meant to be sold. It was meant to be a giant $500 million bargaining chip. Basically, a get-out-of-jail-free card to try and negotiate his boss out of prison.
So that's the key right there. The art wasn't stolen. It was taken hostage. And that one simple idea just reframes the entire crime. This wasn't about some art lover or a quick payday. Nope. This was a cold, calculated power move, right in the middle of a Boston mob war.
But the plan completely backfired. The government basically said, no way, we don't negotiate with mobsters. And just like that, the art went from being a priceless bargaining chip to a huge liability, a massive problem. And that's when the Boston underworld started cleaning house.
And just look at how fast the trail went ice cold. Over the next year and a half, it was just this chain reaction of death. Anyone who might have had a connection to the crime started turning up dead. It was like one by one, every single link in the chain was being permanently cut. And by September of '91, the guy they think masterminded the whole thing, Bobby Donati, is found brutally murdered, stuffed in the trunk of his own car.
And just like that, the art becomes orphaned. The guys who stole it? Dead. The man who ordered the theft? Dead. The art is now this toxic, $500 million problem with no one left alive to even broker its return. And so, it just disappears.
So for almost 20 years, nothing. The case is dead, the trail is beyond cold. And then, out of nowhere, in 2010, investigators get a break that just blows the whole thing wide open again. And this new lead came from the most unlikely person you could imagine.
It was the widow of a mobster connected to that original crew. She tells the FBI this incredible story. Right before her husband died of cancer, he confessed he'd had some of the paintings. He passed them for safekeeping to a trusted friend. And then, she gives the FBI a name. An aging Connecticut mobster, Robert Bobby Gentile.
So in 2012, the FBI raids Gentile's home. They're tearing the place apart, but no paintings. And then, buried deep in his cluttered basement, they find it, a copy of the Boston Herald newspaper, dated March 19, 1990, the day right after the heist.
And tucked inside that 22-year-old newspaper was the smoking gun, a handwritten list. On it, all 13 of the stolen works from the Gardner Museum, complete with their estimated values on the black market. Boom, they finally had their man.
But here's the thing. Catching a guy and getting him to talk, two very, very different things. And what came next was this decade-long, incredibly stubborn standoff between the FBI and this one old guy who just might hold the key to the entire mystery.
So the big question was, who exactly was this Robert Gentile? Was he really just a feeble old man in bad health, like his lawyer claimed, getting pushed around by the government? Or was he the vigorous career criminal the FBI described, a guy who, by the way, had a history of using police uniforms in his crimes and was now just playing dumb? Well, the FBI was pretty sure he was lying, so they hooked him up to a polygraph, a lie detector test. And he didn't just fail, he failed spectacularly. The test showed a 99.9% probability that he was being deceptive when he denied any knowledge of the paintings. And still, the guy would not talk.
So despite the evidence, despite all the pressure from the feds, despite the polygraph, he just stuck to his story, maintained his innocence. And in 2021, at 85 years old, Robert Gentile died, taking whatever he knew with him to the grave. His own lawyer said it. He denied having the paintings till his death.
And that brings us right back to today. You know, the statute of limitations has run out. There's a $10 million reward just sitting there, no questions asked. All someone has to do is make one phone call. And yet, crickets. Just silence. After all this time, all we're left with are those empty frames, and a question that reminds us that our most precious cultural treasures are only as safe as the people we trust to protect them.